starting now. Hi! Okay, hi everybody. This is my uncle John Christensen, and he is the chief of facility management, is that right? At Hawaii Volcanoes National Park in Hawaii. And so he's going to talk to us about volcanoes and just the physical geography of Hawaii. Hi!
Hi, good morning. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas to everyone. As Julia said, I'm the Chief of Facilities Management, so I'm responsible for all of the built environment here in Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. So it's important to understand what are the geologic and physical geography processes that go on that impact the facilities. It helps us to understand where we build things, where we shouldn't build things, and what sort of things might impact them, like lava flows, which we'll talk a little bit more. So in a very basic sense, the Hawaii is formed by a hotspot. So within the core of the planet, there's the liquid iron core, and then there's the mantle, which when the mantle comes to the surface, it becomes lava. And that mantle circulates, just like a boiling pot of water. So, and you may notice that maybe in the middle of that pot of water, the water comes up and then circulates out. And that's roughly what a hot spot is. And a hot spot is stationary. The crust, of course, of the Earth floats, the tectonic plates floats over this mantle and actually moves around relatively slowly. So to give you a visual aid example, I've got this flashlight here. And so if you imagine the flashlight is the hot spot stays stationary, but the Pacific plate, in this case where Hawaii is, actually moves across the spot. Now each place where the plate lingers will actually create a new island. And so what happens is that magma will break through the crust, and the crust right at that spot is generally in the middle of that plate is a little thinner, and so it breaks through that crust and erupts onto the ocean floor, tens of thousands of feet below the ocean, and then slowly builds up an island which eventually breaks through the surface and then continues to erupt on the surface as it did under the ocean, and creates a chain of islands. The stream of magma that comes through the crust will stay connected to a particular spot where a volcano is created. And then it will, as it drifts farther and farther off of that hot spot, will eventually lose its connection with the magma chamber, and a new spot will break through, kind of like you can only stretch half so far before it breaks off. So, and in that way, the chain of Hawaii Islands, the Hawaiian archipelago, has been created, which actually extends all the way up, including the Emperor Seamount chain, to subduction zone near Kamchatka in Russia, and north of Japan. So the Hawaiian island chain is actually thousands of miles long. Most of those islands are actually now underwater. And so the Hawaii Island, where I live, is the youngest of the islands.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It's still growing. And as you go back to Maui and to Oahu and to Hawaii, those islands are older and older and older.
So are the other islands shrinking, or are they all growing? Oh, the other ones are shrinking.
Hawaii Island is the only island that is growing. The other islands are shrinking. In fact, Maui used to be one big island, larger island, like the Big Island. It was called Maui Nui. But now, as it eroded away and as the buoying pressure of the hot spot subsides, that it's actually sinking back into the ocean and is actually broken apart into 4 islands: Maui, Molokai, Lanai, and Kaha'olowe. Islands are all one, just like the Big Island of Hawaii, actually have 5 volcanoes. Kohala, which is the only non-active volcano on the island at the northernmost end, over Kailua-Kona, which creates the orographic effect, drains the last moisture, making Kailua a very sunny, dry desert environment, which is great for beach going. Mauna Kea, which is where the telescopes are, is the highest in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Mauna Loa, which is still a very active volcano, erupting every 30 years or so. Mauna Kea hasn't erupted for about 4,600 years. Hualalai erupts about 3 times every 200 years, or 2,000 years. And Kilauea is the most active, and it's actually currently erupting in 2 locations right now, both of which are within Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. And in fact, there's actually a new volcano just off the southeast coast because the islands run hotspot. The plague's moving from the southeast to the northwest, and so that's why the chain extends in that direction. There's a new island called Hihi, which is just off the southeast coast of Hawaii Island, and in 10,000 years or so is expected to break through the surface and actually glom on to the Big Island, making the Big Island even bigger with maybe 6 volcanoes making it up instead of just the 5.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, so that's just a little bit about the physical geography, a little bit about how the islands are formed. The volcanoes, of course, are formed when the magma breaks through the surface of the crust, and when it breaks through the surface and erupts out into the air, it stops being magma and starts being lava. The oldest island is Kauai, although there are many islands, including Midway Island, you may have heard, or Kuri Atoll, that are the northwest Hawaiian Papahonu'o-Mokuakea.
Oh, yeah.
Islands that President Obama recently expanded into the largest marine sanctuary in the world.
Yeah.
That's actually all former volcanic islands, just like the Big Island that I live on,
Oh.
the northwest of the main Hawaiian islands. So those are much, much older, millions of years older. And what makes volcanoes erupt is that hotspot pressure, that circulation of the core, the mantle of the earth. And what makes volcanoes dormant is when that connection with that stream of magma or magma plume that is contained within the volcano, within the crust, it cools off or loses its connection with the mantle as it drifts off of the hotspot. Hawaii Island is growing, but all the other islands are shrinking slowly. And these all sit over the top of the Pacific Lake, extending for thousands of miles.
Awesome.
Pretty amazing thing.
Yeah.
One of the wonderful things about living here in Volcano, Hawaii, is that from my front door I can see the glow of the Kilauea Summit eruption every night, which is very cool. So we have a big, giant lava lake sitting here at the surface of the summit caldera, and then we also have a lateral vent that is erupting lava, which is flowing over the surface and down into the ocean as well. So a very active and dynamic place here in Hawaii.